Hello everyone. Welcome back to Wednesday Wisdom session organized by Jabalpur Smart City and Jabalpur Incubation Centre. I Ankit Rajak along with my co-host Megha Upadhyay. We very warm welcome each one of you in today's session. So today's session is all about ask me anything from startup ideation to growth. आज की चर्चा में हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं प्रीतम ओंस्कर जी. So on behalf of Jabalpur Smart City and Jabalpur Incubation Centre, I welcome you, sir, for this session.
Thank
Let
you
me
very much.
introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Pritam Onsker. He started two ventures as founder and CEO. The first one is Pune-based startup Tailor Smart, which is home service platform that connect local tailors and designer with customers. Right now, this startup providing services in 7 cities and about to start first franchisee in Dubai. The second startup is Goa-based Brunch Bites, seed funded by Goa government, with serving healthy and hygienic meals daily. He has 21 years of corporate experience and playing a very important role as elected member of CII National Startup Council and leading founder institute of Goa. So once again, we hearty thanks to you, sir, and I request to you, please proceed.
Yeah, thank you for the warm introduction. I will quickly, also touch upon some parts of my journey which will be helpful to the new startups, where they can reach out to me and what kind of help I can offer them, whether in India or outside, whether in sales and marketing or corporate strategy. So thank you for the warm introduction. And I'm Pritam Onsker. I'm born and brought up in Goa, but I left Goa somewhere in 2004. By education, I'm a construction civil engineering guy, but I never worked in that space for a very long time. I've always sold telecom products. So you can imagine a civil engineering guy selling a telecom product, right? And then I moved with Reliance here in Pune in 2004. Was heading the rest of Maharashtra as a region, then joined Bharti Airtel as head of sales. Did that bit for about 2 years and 8 months. And then last 11 years of my career was with Tata Communications. First as the head of rest of West, and then later on I moved to Singapore as head of corporate strategy, responsible for emerging markets, looking at how the Tata Communications brand could actually move to other parts of the geography in the world. That gave me a great exposure around alliances. We did quite a few of them in Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, etc. And then I moved back to Mumbai as head of marketing. This was the first time in my life that I was not earning money but spending money, uh, on behalf of the company, of course. Was responsible for India and SARC as a region. Did a lot of events and shows which engaged people at the CXO level. So did that for almost 2 years plus, and then my final role was as a head of Africa business, reporting to the Dubai office. Used to travel almost 22 days in a month to some of the places which you would have not even heard of, places like Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast and Senegal, etc. Did that for a bit, and luckily for me, I got an approval from the Tata board to be on my own startups. First startups, as my friend rightly said, was Tailor Smart. Now, Tailor Smart is basically a platform that connects, the local tailors and designers with B2B stroke C kind of customers. This we started in 2000, mid of 2017. In 2016, we registered the company, but getting the tech developed, etc. It took us some time, and in 2017 we went live. Ever since then, we have been a bootstrap company, but we have seen sustained growth. After 2017, we have not invested any money in this startup, right? Because the startup itself is taking care of itself. One of the major reasons for that is we have been able to build this startup very capex light. So we don't keep any of the fabric in our stocks. None of the tailors are on our payrolls. But the people who are facing the customer, which is the masters, the designers, or the runners, they are all my employees, right? So we've been able to clearly cut out a role for ourselves as to what is our strength and where we want to keep our focus, so that it remains capex light, and there is a good service that we can offer to our customers. So currently, as you rightly said, we are available in about 7 cities on our own, and we are going to be almost in 20 more cities through franchising in India. And the update that you just read out is slightly outdated, because we are looking at franchising in 3 international locations now, not one, which is in discussion. And our model is very simple. You go to my app, you book an appointment, the master will come home, he will show you the fabric. If you have asked for a designer, the designer is a free service. She will also come along with the master and suggest what is good, bad, ugly for you, and accordingly take your measurements, put it on the app, you pay, and the work starts. And all of this happens at an affordable cost, right? Because there is a perception that made to measure clothing is expensive. We, through our one of my founding partner is coming with 101-year-old of tailoring legacy. It's his grandfather's business, basically. So we have used that strength, which is the way we can buy material from our principal companies, the kind of flexibility that we have when it comes to price, quantity, etc. That is playing to our benefit in some sense, and the 800 plus tailors that we have divided into their specializations. What I mean by that is everybody is not equipped or is not capable of doing everything well. So, for example, if I want to do a shirt and a trouser from the same guy, it may not be the best idea, because somebody is good at doing a trouser, somebody is good at doing a shirt. So what we have done is we have kind of segmented these 800 tailors into 200 guys who only do suits, 100 guys who only do shirts, 150 guys who only do women's wear, another 100 guys who do ethnic wear, and so on and so forth. So that gives us that consistency which the customer is looking for. That also allows us to be cost effective in the marketplace. Looking at one of our posts, Reliance Retail approached us, Instagram post, and we now have about 9 shop-in-shops with them. So when I say shop-in-shops, they have a brand called as Avantra by Trends, which is a sari brand. So they sell on all the saris in those stores, and we have a boutique inside of their store, because the people who come and buy saris would also need blouse, fall bidding, and then they'll come and say, okay, sari is for one function, for other functions I need a ghagra choli or a sharara or those kind of things, which also we get it done. So we have 9 stores with them already, and around 5 more in pipeline, which will be rolled out in, let's say, next 2 to 3 months. And again, we don't have any exclusivity with them, so we can also grow with other brands. You could soon see us with Zara or some other brands. So that's about Tailor Smart that we do. Another good thing that we do in Tailor Smart is that our route to market has been more to do with B2B stroke C, right? So we choose the B2B road consciously, because most of the people who buy ready-made clothes, there's a data which says that, I'm not saying this, are not actually happy with what they buy, right? And who are the guys who buy ready-made clothes? They are the ones who don't have the time to go to the tailor. So they are the working class and so on and so forth. So we went to all the corporates. We said, okay, along with what we sell, we will do sustainability initiatives with you, keeping circular economy in mind. When I say that, what we do is we go every 3 months, not just once in a year, every 3 months, and set up kiosks in these corporates. And then we encourage the employees to donate their own clothes. The old clothes that they donate, we refurbish them in our workshops and redistribute them through our partners like Josh Communities, Sri Mitra India, Robin Hood Army, etc., so that they can give it to the needy people who actually need it. And the people who buy new clothes from us, we also give them a 10% discount, just to encourage more and more donation of old clothes. Because if you look at your own wardrobes, I'm sure that there are clothes lying there, which are like 5 year old, 6 year old, and never been used. So that is what we are trying to encourage as much as possible, in some sense. So that's about Tailor Smart. About Brunch Bites, if you look at most delivery companies that are there, the whole focus is around distribution, delivery, etc. Right? Nobody is actually looking at whether the food is hygienic, is freshly made, yes or no. Today, let's say you order a chole bhature or a butter chicken, you really don't know when it was made, whether it was made today morning, yesterday evening, day before yesterday morning. There's no way of finding that out. So we thought that we'll launch a subscription based service, which is a combination of let's say a Swiggy and a Zomato and a Dabbawala, right? So Dabbawala who actually brings the home food, and Swiggy and Zomato who does the delivery part of it. So we combined the two, and now we do around 2,000 plus meals just in Goa. It was launched in Goa first. As I said, it's a seed funded Goa government seed funded company. Um, and then we just launched Pune a couple of months back. We are still working on our tech platform, new tech platform rather, I would say, because the tech platform that we had earlier was 2017 old, so the UI UX was not updated. So we are working on that. But we are already doing about, on an average, about 40-50 meals in Pune already, and we are looking at least 5,000 to 6,000 meals just in Pune. Because I see we participated in few of the marketing events recently. One was a IPL style cricket tournament and all, which is all the corporate employees coming and playing, and we saw that there is a huge demand for, because people nowadays, mostly nuclear families, they don't have the time to cook early morning, and mostly depend on either their canteen food, which is a big question mark on the hygiene and healthiness of the food, or depend on Swiggy and Zomato. So this intermediate service where they can just order 24 meals and keep, and then use it as and when they want. The beauty here is, if you're ordering 24 meals, you can ask 12 meals to be delivered at home, 12 meals to be delivered in the office. That's possible. You can just go on the app and change the dates as and when you want. You can just go on the app and choose a cuisine. Today, or let's say you're bored of eating Maharashtrian food, you can just go and have a Parsi food someday, or a South Indian food someday. And all of that, you can just keep changing it on the app itself. So that is the change that we are bringing in the food habits, making it more inclined towards freshly cooked food. And we got a great response, because when we started in Goa, we started with the most difficult segment, which is the school tiffin boxes, right? So school tiffin boxes, no mother trusts somebody else to do their kids' school tiffin boxes. But to our surprise, within 10 days of our launch, we were doing 200 tiffin boxes. Reason for that, we later realized that most parents were both working class parents and didn't have the time to put a lot of effort on the tiffins. So they would give them a sandwich, or a kela, or a apple in the tiffin box. So that didn't was not very appetizing, very exciting for the kids. We changed that whole thing by giving them, let's say, things like a beetroot patty burger or a slider. We started giving them ragi ka halwa, which is very colorful, very appetizing also, and very good looking. And the tiffin box is open, and every time they have a new tiffin box with a new message and things like that. So we were able to transform that, and once that was transformed, I think we got an inroad into the lunch space. In COVID, we got hit badly because all the schools were closed. So we had to pivot our model and go to the industrial side, because then the industrial guys were willing to pay more, because the only motivation for the workers to come to the factory was food. Because in COVID days, how difficult it was to get the basic stuff and things like that. So that gave us an entry into customers like Patmeister, Bosch, Unichem Laboratories, etc. And that, you know, completely, changed our space and made it much bigger and bigger. And that's what we want to now focus in, let's say, in Pune, and someday, of course, in Jabalpur and other areas too. So that's the long and short. As far as my pro bono work, or the work that I do as a part of the giving back to society, I am a very active member of the CII Startup and Innovation Council. I lead the Startup and Innovation Council for Goa. I am a part of the Western Region Council as well, and so on and so forth. So happy to connect, or help you guys connect with the industry, which is very, very critical, I think, for startups. So that's one thing that I do. The other thing that I do is I have a Founder Institute. If you don't know what Founder Institute is, it's a US based accelerator which accelerated Udemy. Udemy, is, as you know, is one of the unicorns in the US. And their Goa chapter is led by me and my co-lead Priyanka Rao. Uh, and we help startups to go through the entire 3 months program and then be eligible for VC Labs, which is a US based funding house. So that everything we do on a pro bono or a free mode, as a giving back to society kind of thing that I do. So I think I've taken a lot of time. Thank you, and happy to take questions.
That's a very nice journey and very interesting to know as academia civil engineer who served 21 year in telecommunication sector and now operating two startups. That's very interesting. Now let's take a question from our startup. The first one, Anand Mishra. I request you, can you please join us? Yeah, Anand, please introduce
Yes, sir.
yourself and yeah.
Sir, my name is Anand Mishra, and I am currently working on a startup called Sameep. It's like a e-commerce for local businessmen, like a Swiggy for products. And the problem I am facing is that the local businessman is not willing to work with us. Very resilient to make stuff for us or like pack stuff in the way we want or click photos in the way we want. They're not willing to do this.
So which kind of businesses are you targeting, if I may ask?
Products like
Anand, if you try
jewelry,
little
garments,
more loud, so
Yeah,
your
your
voice
voice is
will
a
be
little
clear.
low.
jewelry, garments, products, any kind of products. But for local customers, and we are connecting local customers to local businessmen, but you can see them on your phone and electronic stuff.
Okay. Okay. So see, there are two types. So what typically happens is, product also, there are two types of products, right? So one is where it's an experiential product, right? Where you want to first experience it, see it, and then you buy it. And then there are other types of products which you buy, the product, so you buy them on a regular basis kind of a thing. Now, both these products have their own life journey, right? So a lot of experiential product guys would obviously not be wanting to collaborate with you for a simple reason is that
Yes.
they believe that until the customer experience it, nobody is going to buy it from them, right? The other part is that we need to see what is your model, how are you actually motivating them to collaborate with you. So what is in it for me, right? So suppose if I am selling, let's say jewelry, okay, since you said jewelry, I'm selling jewelry. What is my motivation as Pritam Onsker to click the photographs the way you want, or to do things the way you want when I already have enough? Okay, if I'm struggling with my business, I can still do it. But if you are saying that okay, there are already customers who are walking in, and my people sitting at the store are not itself not enough to cater to them, and then you're asking me to do this extra effort, there is a question mark, right? So I think we need to first understand your model a little more deeply. The second question to you is that when you say you're generating local demand on an e-commerce platform, how are you doing it?
Sir, what what my motivation to start the business was that Amazon and Flipkart are uh, showing their products online. They are sending their products from some city like Mumbai to Jabalpur, and the local
Mm-hmm.
businessman here is facing problems. There were hunger strikes and all to stop e-commerce. So we thought that why not connect them, connect the local businessmen to the local customers. They will sell their products uh, on our website.
No. So again, my question is the same. So who is the buyer? Is the local buyer? So let's say
Yeah, the
Jabalpur is the
customer is
city, and you're
yeah,
and you're promoting it with Jabalpur customers. My question to you was,
yes.
ki, how are you promoting your e-commerce platform? How are you doing the
Sir,
promotion of it?
actually we have not promoted it yet. We are still working in the back end. and
Yeah, so
other
think
stuff.
about it, because that can be a USP for your target onboarding partners, to tell them कि boss यहाँ आप नहीं जा रहे हो. Okay, so for example, I'll give you a Tailor Smart example, right? So we have an e-commerce platform for our designers. Now you will ask me why a local designer should tie up with me. Valid question, because उसके पास already इतने सारे customers आते हैं, वो सब है. बट उसके पास B2B वाले कस्टमर नहीं आते, क्योंकि उनके पास टाइम ही नहीं होता है. So for example, if I'm doing a roadshow in Honeywell or a Zensa or a some company, and I'm saying कि, okay, I also have this e-commerce platform where I have 24 designers who are on my platform, why don't you go and see them? So that's an extra customer for them. That is a target customer segment that they are not otherwise reaching, but can reach through TailorSmart. So that's why they are collaborating. I get daily, after this call also, I have two meetings aligned at 4:30 and 5:30 with these kind of designers who want to collaborate with us. And I don't have to approach them now. They are coming to me because they've seen my model, that boss, I am a B2B stroke C company. I am not spending dollars on, let's say, Instagram or Facebook or promoting my website. मेरा तो website आप अगर जाके देखोगे तो plain vanilla website है. As of now, it's getting revamped. We are relaunching the whole thing. But the essence of the business is what is driving the pull of these designers towards us, right? So you will have to come with that unique market segment where you're taking these customers to. If you're going to just do digital marketing for them in the space of the same customers that they're already you know targeting or working with, it has got no value add. सो आपको थोड़ा रिफाइन करना पड़ेगा आपका यूएसपी जो है, या बिजनेस केस,
Okay, sir.
या बिजनेस मॉडल जो है, उसको थोड़ा आप रिफाइन कीजिए.
Yes, sir.
आई थिंक यू विल गेट एन आंसर, बिकॉज देन योर दिस प्रॉब्लम विल ऑटोमेटिकली गेट सॉल्व. Then next time when we speak, you will not ask me this question, because you have already given them a space which they were otherwise not there.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
That's very true. आनंद, आप उसमें यूएसपी ऐड करिए एंड अपना आपका जो
जी सर.
प्रपोज्ड मॉडल है उसको थोड़ा प्रमोट करिए, so definitely your
Yes, sir.
problem will solve.
Yes,
So
sir.
now I ask Devesh Patel, please join us and ask your question. Let me give you the brief introduction about Devesh. Devesh एक बहुत अच्छे प्रोडक्ट के साथ काम कर रहा है, वन कप सॉल्यूशन. उसका एक
Mhm.
ऑलरेडी प्रोडक्ट स्टेज में है. यस देवेश.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Devesh, and we are into instant tea, coffee, soup cup. So here's a cup. You just need to add hot water to the cup, and your tea, coffee, soup is ready within 30 seconds. When I say it's 30 seconds, it means 30 seconds. It's not like Maggie that it's never ready in 2 minutes. My first question is how to keep
So the
oneself
ingredients of
charged
the
in
tea is
a
in the cup.
startup journey.
So the ingredients of the tea or coffee is in the cup.
It's inside the cup only. You just need to remove this foil
Okay.
and add hot water. This is
Oh,
for
very good.
our tea, and for a green tea, you don't need to remove anything. There's a filter inside the cup only. You just need to add hot water. So tea will be there beneath the cup only.
Okay, so as I said, my brunch bite works with a lot of corporates. So you and I should talk separately. I will take you to a few corporates.
Okay.
So I'm giving you business already.
That's a great thing. Yes, Devesh, your query.
I think he logged out. He got his network was an
Okay,
issue there.
I think. Okay, so देवेश हमारे साथ एज अ वर्चुअल स्टार्टअप इंक्यूबेट है एंड ही बिलोंग्स टू यूपी एंड डेफिनेटली वी विल ट्राई टू कनेक्ट विथ यू आफ्टर द सेशन
Sure.
एंड मीनवाइल वी कैन आल्सो ट्राई टू रिकनेक्ट. अच्छा, अभी शायद रिकनेक्ट हो रहे हैं.
Hello.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So my first question is how to keep oneself charged in the startup journey, because there are lots of ups and downs in a journey of a startup founder.
देवेश,
Absolute.
आप डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए थे बीच में, एक बार फिर से अपना क्वेश्चन रिपीट कर दीजिए आप।
Okay. Okay, so I'll repeat my question. How to keep oneself charged in startup journey as a founder? Because there are lots of ups and downs in founder's life. Uh, how to keep oneself charged?
Yes. So I will not give you the stereotype answer, which normally I've heard from many people, and many people say that, failure should not affect you, and you should just go on, and failures are good, and all of that. So unfortunately or fortunately, I don't belong to that kind of thinking. Okay, I take my failures very, very seriously, right? And for me, at least, that is a huge motivation factor in my startup journey, that if there is a failure, it's a huge learning that I don't want to repeat that failure, right? So I'll first talk about failures, and then we'll come to successes. And which means that that gives me that much more of more effort or time to sit back, rethink, and redo that same thing in a different way, right? And when I say it, I mean it. I don't really enjoy failures to the which are repeated, right? And not just for me, it's for our entire team, because that impacts the kind of customer experience that you're providing to your customer directly. Because you will say, one time you will say कि, okay ठीक है, मेरा बंदा late हो गया because the appointment got cancelled for XYZ reason. But the second time an appointment of my customer is getting cancelled, it's not good, right? And we should proactively, as Taylor Smart, should know why it is happening. So one, I would say, one huge motivation, at least for me, is if there is a failure, then sit back and think how to not repeat that kind of failure. Second motivating factor, I think, is the long term goal, right? Startup journey is never short term. By definition, also, government has been very smart to define a particular startup, and it remains a startup for 10 years. Now, you need to be patient for 10 years. That's what the message is, right? And they could have kept it at 11 years or a 7 year or a 8 year. Why did they keep it at 10 year? Because the study or the research says that that is the time that you need to try different things to actually become a success. A lot of these companies that we hear who are real success, and I won't call some of these big companies who have raised big money through IPO or through other means as successes, because even today or in the next 10 years they will not make any money. So but if you look at some of the real successes who are still bootstrapped and have been profitable, etc., etc., these are all companies that have spent at least 10 years. So one is that, I when I quit a very high paying corporate job which is giving me the comfort, luxury, travel, whatever you can say, and decided to first thing is to come back to India, and then say they also decided to come in the startup ecosystem. I was very clear that I am going to spend at least 10 years in this space, right? Though I told my wife I'm going to spend only 2 years. But if you आर इन दिस स्पेस, देन 10 साल का आप विंडो पकड़ के चलिए, उतना आपका जो डिसअपॉइंटमेंट है वो ऑटोमेटिकली कम हो जाएगा बिकॉज योर माइंडसेट इज लुकिंग एट 10 years. Then the other thing is, I think it's very important in corporate culture. What we normally do is celebrate small successes, right? So moving, let's say for us, it was moving from a 2 lakh business to doubling up to 4 lakhs a month. It's a huge reason to success. And if you look at my Instagram or a Facebook page, you will see that every single day I will do something which celebrates those smaller successes for us. Then came the story of Reliance collaborating with us, one store becoming 3 or 4 stores within a span of 3-4 months. That's a huge reason to celebrate. I mean, are you celebrating your smaller successes enough? Is the second question that you should ask yourself. And then figure out what are the things that disappoint you the most. Make a list of those 2 or 3 things, right? If they are the ones who have become your constant disappointment factor, for a lot of people it is investment. I know it for sure, right? Because I talk to a lot of startups. Now, that is something that has got multi what you could say dimensional approach, and that is the last thing actually which should disappoint you. That journey is such that if there are 10 people who are saying no, you should find the next 10 people who will say no, or one of them who will say yes. But that journey has to continue, because not necessary that everybody is able to relate to your idea the way you relate to it. As I keep telling most of the idea stage startups, that they are so very closed with their ideas, ऐसा पकड़ के बैठेंगे कि मेरा आइडिया मैं किसी के साथ शेयर नहीं करूंगा. I say that's the most stupidest thing to do, because ideas किसी को भी आ सकते हैं. और अभी जब हम बात कर रहे हैं तो आपका ये कप वाला आइडिया भी और 10,000 लोगों को आया होगा, बट नॉट
True.
नेसेसरी दे विल बी एबल टू इम्प्लीमेंट इट द सेम वे दैट यू आर डूइंग इट, right? So have faith in their in the implementation of your idea, and just move ahead. So whatever those two or three things that are bothering you, including investment, and if somebody is not investing, it is because of two things. Either you have not been able to communicate your idea and execution the way it should have been communicated for him to be interested in the investment, in investing in you, or they have completely no interest or no liking towards what you're doing. These are the only two reasons. There's no gray in between. It's just black or white. So I would say first thing is, look at the reasons for your failures, and make sure you don't report them. Don't repeat them, and take your failures very very seriously. Don't take it lightly and burn more money. Take it very seriously. Celebrate success every now and then also go and find out what is bothering you, and try to fix that, right? There'll be two or three things only which will actually push back, or disappoint you on a day-to-day basis of a working of a startup. It won't be more than that. Just try and fix them in the way I explained to you the investment part of it.
Thank you so much.
Hope I have answered your question, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Thank you, Devesh. वेरी वेल सेड सर, बहुत अच्छा. ये पर्सनली मैंने भी नोट डाउन किया है. सेलिब्रेट स्मॉल स्मॉल स्टेप सक्सेस. इवन आपने जो मेंशन किया है, आई सेलिब्रेट एंड डू समथिंग टू सेलिब्रेट ऑन डेली बेसिस. दैट्स अ वेरी गुड पॉइंट. नाउ लेट अस क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम भरत गुप्ता. भरत, join us. ओके, सो भरत, हमारे यहाँ पे फिजिकल स्टार्टअप है एंड अभी इसको 3 मंथ हुआ है जो हमारे साथ इसने ज्वाइन किया है. एंड हिज टीम इज वर्किंग टू प्रोवाइड ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पे वो यूजर और जो सैलून है उनको कनेक्ट करें, और एक अपॉइंटमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म जनरेट करें जिससे यूजर एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम डोमेन और शेड्यूल के साथ सैलून का अपॉइंटमेंट लें. भरत, आप ज्वाइन कर पा रहे हैं? दिव्यांशी मैम. ओके, सो लेट मी पुट हिज क्वेश्चन जो उन्होंने गूगल फॉर्म में प्लेस किया था. सो इन द बिगिनिंग किसी भी स्टार्टअप के लिए बहुत सारा फंड इन्वॉल्व करना काफ़ी डिफिकल्ट होता है, बेसिकली ऑन हिज ओन कॉन्सेप्ट. सो इनका क्वेश्चन था कि क्या हम अपने फंडामेंटल कॉन्सेप्ट में वर्क करने के साथ साथ कोई दूसरा वर्क भी स्टार्ट करें जिससे हम कुछ फंड कलेक्ट करके अपने प्रिंसिपल में, जो हमारा प्रिंसिपल है स्टार्टअप का, उसमें इन्वेस्ट कर सकें. तो इनका क्वेश्चन था कि हम अपने स्टार्टअप के वर्क के साथ दूसरा वर्क भी करें क्या, जिससे हम कुछ अपना फाइनेंशियल नीड फुलफिल कर सकें.
That actually, I would say no to begin with, but that also depends on, I don't know how young this gentleman is, or what is his family requirement. Is he married, has kids, whatever? So it will depend from person to person, but as a concept, it's a big no. All right. Why I'm saying it's a big no is because unless and until you have the neck on the block, there are the drive suddenly starts, maybe not come down, but it goes into a plateau mode, right? And for a startup, growth is everything. You need to grow every now and then. for which if it's a focused approach, like for example, he's now building a appointment platform, let's say for startups. I would like to know ki, which are the type of salons or whatever that is going to get associated with him. Has he done any kind of categorization? How many salons has he done? Because I know this space, because there's one startup that I was trying to help to build a similar appointment system back in Goa. Now, if he has to put in this much of an effort to first get his thinking and the business model right, I think it is a full time effort. It cannot be part time. Even if he says that, there is a need of money to be pumped in. And this is one platform which actually doesn't need money, right? You need very little money, but you need lot of groundwork on the ground to onboard these salons, then do a test and trial with the people who will actually use the platform, and so on and so forth. But platform बनाने के लिए एक very limited resource या limited money लगेंगे. मतलब if I had to guess right, the whole thing can be actually done in about 3 or 4 lakh rupees. That's it. उसके बाद तो उनका effort ही है. तो उसके बाद तो you can get the first customer, and obviously for such platforms you should never dilute in the beginning any stake. You should always create revenue, sustainable revenue first, and then go to the market to raise money. So these are the things that I would recommend to him. Ki, ek to this is obviously a full time activity, it's not part time for sure. And the idea that which you've shared with me, doesn't need that kind of money or capital any which ways. So
Okay, let me ask to Siddharth. Siddharth, if you join us and put your question. Okay, meanwhile, let me take another question, which is also from our own Incubity startup. Faizan Khan has mentioned how to establish perfect sales team in initial of a startup and later on compete with existing competition.
yeah, so what is his business for us to
Uh,
establish sales?
yes, इनका जो स्टार्टअप है, स्टार्टअप नेम इज ऑटो व्हील. सो बेसिकली ये प्री ओन्ड कार का एक प्लेटफॉर्म बनाना चाहते हैं जो प्री ओन्ड कार को सेल करे.
Very good idea. So इसके लिए obviously what is his in source? I mean, he's again going to go back to public at large, right? जिनका गाड़ी बेचता है.
Yes, yes. They already had a work experience of how to sell cars. अब वो उसको
Siddharth
सर्विस
Very
Dubey,
प्रोवाइड करना
amazing.
चाह
founder
रहे हैं,
and director,
ग्राउंड पे वर्क
McBuddy.
कर चुके हैं. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
have
was.
a work experience of 1 year in the same domain, and yeah, now they want to use some sort of e-commerce platform to enroll the customer and showcase them the pre-owned car. So their
Okay.
question is how to establish perfect sales team.
So I think it's no brainer. I think you have a lot of competition who is already existing in this space. So probably somebody who's smart enough, you look at a competition and pick up a few guys from there to lead. Look at a guy who is not the boss, but is ambitious enough to become the boss. So hire that guy and give him the incentive or motivate him to become the boss and manage things on your own, because you as a founder will have to move from 1 to 2 to 2 to 20 to 2 to 20 to 200. So you need to find these you know perfect fit kind of management guys who are self motivated, take the ownership and move ahead. So obviously don't buy or don't hire the boss in the competition, and that's been my funda. Buy the second in
That's
command or third in command who is aspirational enough to become the boss.
right. So अभी सिद्धार्थ ने सर ज्वाइन कर लिया है. सिद्धार्थ, प्लीज इंट्रोड्यूस योर स्टार्टअप एंड देन हैव योर क्वेश्चन. आप अपना क्वेश्चन रखिए और अपने स्टार्टअप को इंट्रोड्यूस करिए.
So, hello sir, my name is Siddharth Dubey, founder and director McBuddy. Basically, McBuddy सर एक MedTech प्लेटफॉर्म है जो ऑफर करता है आपको सर्विसिंग ऑन द स्पॉट सर्विसिंग सेक्टर में. डोर स्टेप सर्विसिंग में हम मॉडिफिकेशन भी ऑफर करते हैं इंक्लूडिंग हम कन्वर्ट टू ईवी सेगमेंट में भी काम कर रहे हैं, जस्ट वी आर एग्रीगेटिंग, वी वर्क सेम लाइक जोमेटो एंड स्विगी और लोकल ऑटोमोटिव गैरेजेस। तो सर मेरा एक सबसे मेजर सवाल आपसे ये था कि जो अभी करंट सिनेरियो चल रहा है इन्वेस्टमेंट मार्केट का, जो पिछले 8 से 10 महीने से कहीं ना कहीं बहुत डाउनफॉल में जा रहा है, सो अगर एक पोटेंशियल स्टार्टअप है हु नीड सम इन्वेस्टमेंट, मतलब कहीं ना कहीं एक बिजनेस ग्रो करने के लिए जिसको कुछ कैपिटल की जरूरत है, तो इस जो क्लटर्ड मार्केट में हम उसमें कैसे अपनी अपॉर्चुनिटी निकालें कि हमें वो पर्टिकुलर इन्वेस्टमेंट मिल जाए।
पहली बात तो मैं सोचता हूँ कि ये डाउनवर्ड ट्रेंड इज वेरी गुड. ओके, आई डोंट
यस
थिंक
सर,
इट्स
ऑब्वियसली।
because the right kind of ideas now or the right kind of businesses will now get funded. जब बबल चल रहा था, जैसे डॉट कॉम बबल जो हमने देखा लॉन्ग टाइम बैक, और द फाइनेंशियल बबल ऑफ 2008 जो देखा, वो जो चल रहा था वो कहीं ना कहीं थम गया है, एंड which is a good sign, which is a good sign especially for startups like you and me, right? Because now people
यस
are
सर।
actually evaluating the business whether it is actually scalable, not on an excel sheet but on the ground, right? पहले तो क्या है कि मैंने स्केल दिखा दिया एक्सेल शीट पे, वैल्यूएशन बना दिया इन अ डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो डीसीएफ मेथड में बना दिया, तो इट यूज्ड टू बिकम द वैल्यूएशन, एंड पीपल did their due, and nothing against the guys who did the due diligence, but they had their own ways of investing. Now is the time, and whenever I speak to investors, I see it clearly coming in that they want to see the executable part of it, right? And if you and me become good executors, then your and my startup will surely get funded. That's the one thing that I want to say. Now, how to get funding? As I was mentioning before you join, uh, the the biggest thing is to not raise funding at the initial stage of your business, right? And there is a reason why I'm saying that. One is that because at the initial stage, when you're building a platform like that, you will see things that you had not even imagined, and by the time you are crossing that stage and the business is actually becoming executable, there are two or three things that will get added to it, and the business will start looking much bigger. I'll give you a Taylor Smart example. When we started Taylor Smart as a company, we never knew that we will have shop in shops. We never knew that we will have an e-commerce platform, right? And there are more things that are going to come. I'm not going to disclose on this call, but I'm saying that from my one revenue stream, which is home service for made to measure clothing at home for both men and women, it is now that plus a shop in shop with the brands like Reliance Retail. We have 9 stores with them right now, and we can go to as many brands as we want since we don't have exclusivity, to providing a e-commerce platform to designers, right? And now these designers come from smaller places like Nagpur. I have a designer from Calcutta. I have designers who are making, let's say, made to measure jeans, for example, based out of Mumbai, right? So all these things that we had never thought of came to life, and now all of these things add to my valuation. So imagine if I had diluted this at the beginning of my business where there is only one revenue stream. So it would have been, let's say, a 10 valuation, right? Now the valuation has automatically moved to 30 because in all the three spaces we have executed and shown. हमने execute करके दिखाया है. So the best thing to do is, if it is just idea and you're moving to the execution stage, that's the time you invest your own money, because as it is, as a founder, your money has to go in, your neck has to be on the block, number one. Or if it is large sum of money, friends and family who have faith in you, faith in your idea, raise from them, do a FNF round, but don't go yet to the invest. And this is my personal view. I mean, I may be wrong here. And when you are done with all of these 2 3 things that we think, and we have executed, and the execution has reached certain stage, that's the time you actually raise money for growth. I tell every single startup that I speak to, don't raise money at the early stage to survive, right? Raise it for the growth stage, and that is when you will really find value of your own startup. तब तक हमको भी पता नहीं होता कि हमारे स्टार्टअप का वैल्यू है क्या. I hope I have answered, Siddharth.
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
Yeah.
दैट्स वेरी ट्रू। बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप जिनको अर्ली स्टेज में ये फील होता है कि अगर उनके पास कहीं से इन्वेस्टमेंट आ जाए तो वो बहुत सारा चीज़ें कर पाएंगे और उनका स्टार्टअप सडनली ग्रोथ स्टेज में पहुंच जाएगा। बट वेरी वेल मेंशन कि अर्ली स्टेज में अगर हम फंड लगाएंगे देन उसके बाद उसको मार्केट फिट पर लेकर जाएंगे एंड देन वहां पे हम रियलाइज करते हैं कि ये फेल्यूर की तरफ जा रहा है तो हमारा फंड ऑलरेडी एक्सपेंडिचर हो जाएगा। दैट्स वेरी ट्रू कि ग्रोथ स्टेज में अगर वो फंड यूटिलाइज करेंगे देन उनका बहुत एक्सपेंशन होने के चांसेस ज्यादा रहते हैं। Let me take last question from our startup सत्यनारायण पाटीदार जिनका स्टार्टअप है कृषि एग्रोटेक फूड प्राइवेट लिमिटेड। उनका क्वेश्चन है हाइलाइट्स द फ्यू बेनिफिट्स ऑफ स्टैंड अप इंडिया स्कीम। स्टैंड अप इंडिया
Startup,
स्कीम जो गवर्नमेंट
Startup
ऑफ
India.
इंडिया की, यस
Yeah,
स्टैंड अप इंडिया।
oh, I am not aware of that. I am
ओके
very sorry. Maybe I'm the wrong person to answer that. I don't want to give you some wrong information.
ओके
But yeah,
ओके
so from a Goa startup policy point of view, I can answer because there are, you can definitely look at the Goa startup policy. It has some real good benefit for women entrepreneurs, including a marketing expense of 20,000 rupees a month. If you are employing the local Goan talent for as IT resources, then 50% of the salary for 3 years is borne by government of Goa. There's a 10 lakh rupees seed fund that you get if it is certified by the Goa startup policy that you're a startup that they want to work with. Plus, there is a 50% rebate on, if you're taking the local co-working space for 3 years. If you're building your own factory, then there is up to 75% loan through EDC. So the startup policy Goa is definitely worth looking at. I'm sure that MP policy is equally strong and to go for. But do look at startup policy Goa also. It's very attractive, and you can come and set up your startup in Goa as well. There's no
ओके
restriction on that.
yes let me ask my co-host if she has a question। Mega, you have question in your side?
या सर, एक्चुअली आइडिएशन स्टेज पे जब स्टार्टअप्स होते हैं तो बेसिकली उनके जो क्वेश्चंस होते हैं वो ये होते हैं कि वो राइट कस्टमर्स तक अपने जो टारगेट कस्टमर्स हैं उन तक कैसे रीच आउट करें।
Yeah, so I think if I got your name right, Mega, it depends on product to product. So D2C brands, a lot of D2C brands are right now bleeding, right? Because let's say if they were spending 10 rupees to generate a lead about 2 years back, today they are spending about 30 rupees to do that, right? So, and that's also because of pandemic. So if let's say there was a tea brand or a towel brand or a soap brand, etc. During pandemic, these brands have multiplied, right? So people have gone, and it's good. I'm not saying it's bad, and everybody is spending on social media, on SEO, and digital promotion, etc. As a result of that, the cost of getting leads generated on the digital platform has significantly increased. So if your product is able to cater to that kind of cost and yet make money, then that is the channel for you. Otherwise, a combination of physical channel and a digital channel is what I would highly recommend. When I say that, what I mean is, so use the digital channel only to create awareness, not to create leads. Okay, and choose the physical channel, which is, let's say you go to a society, put up your kiosk. Let's say आप शैम्पू बेच रहे हैं, आप क्या बोलते हैं उसको, सोप्स बेच रहे हैं, you can do very good targeted digital marketing on awareness just in Jabalpur, and then set up maybe 5 or 6 kiosks in 6 different housing societies to create your physical presence. You don't really have to own a shop, but to create a physical presence, promote there, give some free samples, etc., etc. That works, in my mind, works very, very well, rather than just sticking to a digital presence or just sticking to a physical presence. So if I knew the product that you're talking about, I would have given you more specific answer. But in general, the trend that I see is that uh, it's moving to a hybrid now. People have realized that you just can't build a D2C brand being present on uh, digital platforms and social media, because the burn rate has only increased. If I was spending 10 lakhs a month, now I'm spending 30 lakhs a month and still getting the same business. So that's the reading that I have. There was one question in the chat box which just came and went. If you want to pick that up, I can answer that.
Yes,
Something
yes,
regarding
yes.
emerging
Lalita
trends.
Singh has yes mentioned what are the emerging trends in the startup ecosystem?
So
What
one
are the
emerging trend
emerging
is,
trends in the startup?
yeah, one emerging trend is, Lalita, for you to know is that, and a good thing I always feel happy about is that the number of startups which are coming are just multiplying and just blowing it off, right? Which is a good trend. Second thing is that earlier, people were very, very sector specific. So there was a huge, influx of edtech and health tech startups. Now the trend has changed to a more diversified ecosystem of startups. Now you see a lot of agri-tech startup, lot of service-based startup like what I have, for example. Both my startups are service-based, and yes, there is also a trend towards deep tech and etc. But that is a smaller chunk of the business. But I see that there is a lot of diversity that is getting created in the ecosystem itself. Again, one more welcome point is that there are a lot of women entrepreneurs who are coming forward and are becoming a part of the ecosystem, which was very, very uh, important and needed, because I personally feel that women founders can contribute, or women leaders actually can contribute far more, because of the natural instincts of multitasking and things that are there. You would have seen your mother do it, right? एक side में cooking भी हो रहा है, बच्चे की पढ़ाई भी हो रही है, and everything is happening simultaneously. So they are natural multitaskers. They have a far more, you know, dedication and honesty that they bring to the table. So I am a personal, believer that women, more and more women entrepreneurs and leaders should come in. So that is another good thing that is happening. Obviously, all the other things I think are nothing new. But yeah, these two, three things around more diversified startups coming into play, and more startups coming into play is a welcome change for sure.
Okay, so yes, that's a
And I
very
would say
true.
one more, and I would say one more thing. There is a renewed interest, or there's a lot of interest of investors from outside of India to invest in India. Recently, you would have heard the news of finally Elon Musk's Tesla, or Elon Musk himself coming to India, right? That is also because of a stronger policy mechanism that we had. He wanted to come to India a long time back, but with the Chinese cars, made in China cars. We didn't allow that, and now finally he's agreed to set up a manufacturing in India. So these are some of the pull factors as far as India is concerned, because I speak to a lot of people who were investing, let's say, in Dubai, for example, or a lot of Russians and other people were also investing in Dubai. But all of these guys have seen that those markets are no more very lucrative, and if they are looking at a long-term prospect, it is just India. So there's a lot of money from outside of India also that you will see getting pumped in. But yes, with a lot of caution, since the bubble का थोड़ा थोड़ा हवा जा रहा है, which is for good. Uh, so so that's another point. Yeah.
Yes, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इज ऑल्सो हैव वेरी पॉजिटिव मोड कि हमारा जो स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम है वो और स्ट्रेंथ हो, और बहुत सारे यूनिकॉर्न आ रहे हैं, और बहुत सारा हमारा इकोनॉमिक जो है स्टार्टअप के चारों तरफ इन्वॉल्व हो रहा है. सो दैट्स अ वेरी 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 इंटरेस्टिंग सेशन विथ यू प्रीतम जी, और काफ़ी सारी आपने प्रैक्टिकल टिप्स जो हमारे स्टार्टअप के साथ शेयर की है वो उनको बहुत ही यूजफुल होगी. एंड वी लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू यू कि इस तरीके की कुछ और चीज़ें आपके साथ हो, और आपने जो हमारे एक स्टार्टअप से कनेक्ट करने का जो किया है, मैं उससे ट्राई करूँगा कि आपको कनेक्ट करें. और उसको भी
Sure.
आपके प्रेजेंस से काफी बेनिफिट मिलेगा. So once again, on behalf of Jabalpur Incubation Center and Jabalpur Smart City, I thanks to you for your time, efforts for this session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. Hope it was useful to you guys. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Look forward to connecting with you in some way or the other in near future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.